Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Let's Play Mod Organizer, a revolutionary new series in which I decide to play a mod organizer instead of actually playing a game. No, anyway, that's not what this is about at all. For those of you who follow my streams and those of you who are patrons on my Discord, you'll have known for a little while now that I've been planning a new Skyrim Let's Play. It's been about a year, I think, since the Claudius LP finished, and I had originally planned about a year after finishing that to come back to Claudius and do some other stuff with him, like Beyond Skyrim and so on and so on. And I actually decided I didn't want to do that. The chief reason being my old Skyrim installation is freaking ancient at this point. The save game itself is not in a great state anyway. But it's just an ancient relic with so many really old unsupported mods installed for it. And I just decided I didn't want to go back and play that versus playing the special edition we have these days with all the newer mods and things like that. So I decided, for the sake of stability and for the sake of playing something that's actually up to date for once, instead of going back and using bloody Skyrim. Do you remember Skyrim? Yeah, it's still got that installed on it. I would start a new series with the special edition. And I think that's the right call as well, because there's a lot of newer mods coming out, like Beyond Skyrim, which are exclusively focusing on the special edition, I think, going forward. I haven't officially seen that or anything, but I remember someone telling me a while ago that the Beyond Skyrim team are exclusively making their stuff for the special edition going forward. So there you go. So here we are with Mod Organizer, and here are the mods I've got installed for the new playthrough. Now I know what kind of character I'm going to be playing, I know what I'm going to be doing in it. In the Let's Play, and I'll talk a bit about that, I suppose. So, without getting into spoilery territory too much, I will be playing a mage character. I will. Claudius was a sword and board fighter. I've got a thief playthrough going on the channel at the moment, as it is, with Arthur in Oblivion. We've got Fathis, who's kind of a little bit of everything. And so, there's room for a mage. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be playing a mage character. And obviously we're going to be doing the College of Winterhold. And the funny thing is, as for the vanilla Skyrim content, that's probably going to be it, really. My plan for this LP is a bit of an odd one. I want it to kind of take place in the same universe, if you like, that the Claudius one took place. But it will be set a number of years after Claudius saved the world from Alduin and settled down and retired and what have you. So I've got a number of mods installed that help me sort of achieve that. For example, I've got one which I can use to make it so that the Civil War is set to complete and is skipped with an Imperial victory, so that the world is kind of set into that post-Civil War state. I can remove dragons from the game because I am not interested in dealing with dragons and their bullshit this time around. No thank you. And I think it's interesting because the truth is I have no interest in doing the main quest again anyway. I wasn't going to do the companions again, obviously. I didn't want to do the Civil War again. And I didn't, frankly, really want to do Dawnguard again. Dragonborn is an expansion I wouldn't have minded going through again because I really enjoyed it the first time, but I can live without it. We'll probably still visit Solstheim at some point, but obviously I won't be doing the main Dragonborn storyline, if you like. There'll be other stuff to do on Solstheim, stuff even that we didn't bother to do with Claudius, for example, like go visit Karstag, the ice giant, for instance. So, plus there's new modded content added there too. But anyway, so mostly it's going to be a playthrough that is a little bit different, because it's not going to be structured in the same way Claudius's one was, by which I mean it was kind of built around finishing the main quest. This one's going to be a bit different. As I said, there'll be the College of Winterhold, and then beyond that, it's going to be mostly just kind of modded stuff, I think, probably. I've got a bunch of stuff installed here, a bunch of stuff that people have been screaming at me to use, for example, like Legacy of the Dragonborn, among other things. And that's probably what the playthrough is going to be based around. It could be a much shorter one as a result. But I think that's okay, because, let's face it, the Claudius LP went on for about 4 years. And I don't really need another 4-year-long Let's Play, honestly. Now, having said that, it will probably still be quite lengthy, because just because of the way I play these games. But I don't think it will necessarily be as long as the Claudius one, and for me, I think that's actually a plus and not a negative, because I actually feel that in some ways the Claudius LP, as much as I loved it, looking back, it kind of outstayed its welcome in a few places. I think that, for example, Dawnguard was completely unnecessary in the Claudius Let's Play. I don't think we needed to do Dawnguard, and it only unnecessarily drew the thing out to the point where I was starting to get a bit bored with it towards the end. Stuck in that kind of ultra late game state where your character is so OP that there's no challenge anymore. You're never getting any new interesting loot or anything because all of the gear you've already got is always better than everything you can find, and so on and so on. So, I mean, let's face it, in the Elder Scrolls games, the early game is always much more fun than the late game. At least to me, anyway. I don't know. Maybe your mileage varies slightly on that one, but I always find the early game to be much, much more fun and interesting than the late game. But anyway, I'm not going to go individually through all the mods I've got installed here, because we'll be here forever if I do that. So I'll just give you the view here so you can see them all. There'll be other stuff added. The nice thing about Skyrim is it is actually quite stable. It can put up with a lot of punishment when it comes to modding it, as the Claudius LP showed. I have learned a lot of valuable lessons since then, of course. But there are things... Basically, what we've got here is a very, very rigorously tested on my part over the last couple of weeks base upon which we can build more stuff. At the moment, the big stuff we've got, as I said, is like Legacy of the Dragonborn. What else we got? We've got Inigo on here, because I've been yelled at about that mod for years. We've got loads of stuff, really. I'm not going to go individually through it. I will say things like, for example, I don't have Frostfall. I do have Campfire, because I still like having the tents and the bedrolls and stuff. But I don't have Frostfall installed because Frostfall is a pain in the bum, to be honest. I find it a bit of a pain in the bum these days. It's busy work. It can add to the immersion, but frequently it's just annoying. So that's not in here. Also, I don't have any kind of like needs mod in here, like basic needs like eating and drinking and what have you. That's because I'm using the big overhaul mod I'm using is called Yash, Yash 2, wherever it's in the list here. Sort for a second. There it is. It's called Yet Another Skyrim Hardcore Mod. That's what it stands for. Yash. Now, I know that the popular choice is Ordinator for your big perk overhaul style mod thing. I know that the popular choice is Ordinator. I have used Ordinator in the past. I don't want to use it this time. I want to use Yash. Yash is a better fit for the type of character I want to play, and also I kind of just like Yash's philosophy a bit better. If you're not familiar with it, it's an overhaul mod that really just tries to make Skyrim a bit more like Morrowind or Oblivion, actually. It tries to make the game more about character skill versus player skill. And reintroduces a lot of elements from the previous games and from just older RPGs in general, really. It tries to take Skyrim from being a mostly action RPG thing to something a bit more... I almost said sensible then, but that's not really fair. A bit more old school, shall we say, yeah. And I quite like it, and it particularly suits the character I want to play. Ordinator is really good, and it's very fun, and it's got a lot of stuff going for it. But personally, I don't necessarily need in my life a mod that allows me to take a perk which, if I fart... If my character farts at a 45-degree angle at a certain time of day, they'll make an enemy's head explode if they're between levels 25 and 15. Like a lot of the Ordinator perks seem to be just really bizarre shit like that you can never possibly remember. They're always like these really weirdly, bizarrely specific situational things that don't even make much sense from a roleplay perspective. Whereas Yash is kind of like, they take the philosophy of, let's have less perks, but let's make those perks actually do stuff that's useful. So, don't have like 15 million perks, but we do have perks that actually do useful stuff. So, there's the big overhaul mod that I'm going to be using for this one. That's your big kind of like Oscuro's overhaul / Skyrim / whatever equivalent for this LP. I also have Apocalypse Magic installed, obviously, because we're doing a magic playthrough. So, and Apocalypse does work with Yash, actually, as it turns out. So, that's good stuff. And the rest of it is mostly just a few graphical improvements. I haven't gone completely overboard with the graphical improvements because I don't want my loading times to be ridiculously long. I have got this installed on the SSD, but it's still actually not as quick as I'd like, unfortunately. So, yeah, and aside from that, it's just a few little immersion mods here and there. I say a few, like every other mod on the Nexus these days seems to have the word immersion or immersive in the title. But, we'll get to it all as I go through it. I ain't got a music mod installed. It's a very nice music mod, and it's Creative Commons attributed as well, which means I won't get copyright flags all over my videos for having it in there, which is pretty sweet. So yeah, there you go. That's the overview. You can check out the list by pausing the video if you like, and obviously the full mod list will be in the description of the videos when the LP actually goes live. But this is your opportunity to inject your suggestions and things like that before it's basically too late and I've already started recording videos, essentially. That's why I'm putting this up now, is so that you can, offer some opinions if you like. I'm pretty happy with this, though, I've got to say. I have tested it a lot over the last couple of weeks. It's pretty rock solid. Ignore that red version thing there. There's something wrong with the version. It's put in a date instead of the actual version number, which means that it's pretending it's out of date, but it's not. I'm really happy with it, and I'm looking forward to playing with it. So there you go. I hope you enjoy the new LP. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a very different playthrough to the Claudius one. Very different indeed. But hopefully in a good way. Hopefully in a good way. I don't think there's anything else for me to say, so I'm just going to stop talking. And I will see you in the near future with episode 1 of this thing. And I hope you guys enjoy it. As I said, like I said, the thing is, it is set. I'm kind of repeating myself here, but I just want to make this clear as well. It is set sort of after the Claudius LP. So you don't have to have watched the Claudius Let's Play if you want to watch this. I don't want to give you that impression. But it is set in that same kind of universe. I'm not just making another character who is also the Dragonborn. I've got very specifically it modded so that my character's not the Dragonborn. If we somehow encounter a dragon in spite of them all being disabled, and I kill it, I won't absorb its soul. For example, if I walk up to a word wall in a ruin, it won't get crazy chanting and bright lights going on. The character we're playing is not the Dragonborn, and the game will not treat them as such. So yeah, and what I will say as well is that obviously, even though I'm trying to set this chronologically after Claudius' story is finished, there's going to be some weird overlap here and there. I'm going to end up probably doing some quests that Claudius did as well, meeting some characters that Claudius did as well. At the end of the day, it's a Skyrim Let's Play on YouTube and not, an HBO series or something. Like, we hold ourselves to slightly lower standards of continuity here. So it ain't going to be perfect, but the general gist should be fun. I just liked the idea of playing a game that's not set in the standard Skyrim intro, with Alduin blowing up Helgen, and, oh my god, there's a civil war, and, all the usual garbage, basically. This one instead will start with, no, Alduin's dead, Helgen's still in ruins, but the civil war's over, and things are mostly looking up, really, actually. There'll still be some Stormcloaks, hiding around in their camps in the hills and stuff like that. Stubbornly unwilling to admit defeat, but the civil war will be over. Ulfric will be dead. If we go to Windhelm, there'll be Imperial guards everywhere, and old Brimwolf Freewind will be the Jarl of Windhelm, and so on and so forth. But yeah, it should be fun. It's a bit of an experiment. I tested it really thoroughly, precisely because I thought maybe if I was to do this, it might break a load of stuff. But so far, actually, it seems to have worked out perfectly okay. So that's nice. So yeah, as I said. Suggestions below, comments, concerns, all the rest of it. I have spent a long time on the Nexus looking for mods, so if you end up suggesting mods down in the comments, there's a good chance I probably will have already looked at them and discarded them if they're not installed. There are some other quest mods that aren't in this list currently because they'll get added later in the playthrough, like Beyond Skyrim Bruma, for example, the Forgotten City. What else? Maybe Helgen Reborn as well. I was thinking about that. It's made by the guy who... I didn't know this originally, but it's made by the guy who did the those 2 New Vegas mods I used. The Bison Steve Hotel Casino mod and the Schoolhouse one, which I thought was really cool because that was a really good mod. So, but yeah, as well, quest suggestion mods are welcome. It's stuff that particularly stuff that gives me more things to do in the vanilla Skyrim world space. less so mods that take me off on some random adventure, like Moonpath to Elsewhere or something, like where I go off to the other end of Tamriel and get stuck in an instanced area for like 30 hours. That so much I'm not as interested in as much as I am interested in stuff for me to do in the base in Skyrim itself. This is obviously going to be a Let's Play Skyrim, so I would like, you know, probably the majority of the gameplay to actually take place in Skyrim, if that makes sense. So, as I said, I did look at a lot of the quest mods available on the Nexus, and a lot of them are kind of like, oh, we'll transport you off to a brand new location type mods, which I'm not necessarily as interested in to begin with. But anyway, okay, I've talked enough now. It's been 15 minutes of me rambling about mod setups and stuff like that. It's mostly so that I don't end up rambling at the start of episode 1 of the actual LP. That's my thinking here. If I can get all the ranting nonsense out of the way in this video, I can just jump straight into the gameplay in episode 1 and not faff about. That's the idea anyway, but I'm sure I'll find a way to do it regardless. So, ladies and gents, thank you very much for watching. As I said, leave your comments below, and I will see you for episode 1 of this very, very soon. Not sure when exactly that will be, but very soon. Very, very, very soon. I need to do intro stuff before we can really get going with it, so that might take a little while, but very soon. All right, anyway, cheers, everybody. I'll catch you next time.